Blog Talk Radio.
Well, after a week on the Natchez Trace Parkway, Jackson, Mississippi to Nashville, Tennessee, we are back in Boulder, Colorado, over the top. I'm your host, George Thomas. Welcome to the Fall Race Preview, where we are really putting most of our focus on the Silver State 508. And we're going to be chatting with Mike Wilson this morning about the 508. But I want you to take a minute to get over to cardosystems.com. The Labor Day sale is about to come to an end. It's been month long, all of September, and September comes to a close on Tuesday. So 40% off the Cardo BK1 and the BK1 Duo. 40% off. That's a fantastic price on that system. It's really the gold standard in ultracycling communication. Rider communicating with crew, making phone calls to friends, family, or if you've listened to us for a while, you've probably heard Mike Wilson and Chris Ragsdale doing interviews with us from the bike. And the website, once again, cardosystems.com, Labor Day sale coming to an end tomorrow. 40% off the Cardo BK1 and the BK1 Duo. If you are trying to win one of the Cardos, we are giving away a BK1 Duo here on Over the Top. We've got a word of the show, and if you send that word to me via Facebook message, or you can like us on Over the Top and message us there, if you send that answer to us, the person with the most correct answers is going to be eligible for our prize BK1 Duo. Now, if there is a tie, we're going to determine the winner via a drawing. So listen for the word of the show. Again, our guest today is Mike Wilson, who is actually checking in from a training ride via the Cardo BK1. I believe you're out on La Jolla Drive, Mike?
That's correct, George. Good morning.
Great to chat with you. And tell us about the Silver State. What kind of training are you really focusing on?
Well, at this point, I think the icing's on the cake, so we're just double-checking everything, taking the skin suit out today, and obviously getting the Cardo charged up and ready for this weekend. So choosing wheels and trying to get all the little last-minute details done.
That's right. If you're not in shape now, you're in trouble.
That's a fact.
Now, tell us a little bit about the BK1. You've been using this for a while. You used it in Ram 2013. Why and what do you like about the system?
Well, I tell you, as Andrea, my fiance, says, it is a game changer. It takes the sport that can be so tough and so you feel so isolated sometimes in these super long solo races that even with a crew behind you in the van, you can really get onto a different page mentally, and as we like to say sometimes, or we don't like to think about, sort of start going dark. And the BK1 is so clear that it's like having your crew chief's voice in your head sometimes. I've actually been startled after a period of quiet where Andrea or Jill will start talking, and I'll just about jump off my saddle, but it's just a great tool to always maximize your time. You always know what they're going to do next, what food, what drink you need. They can remind you of, you're getting behind without having to move or risk anything, unsafe by passing by. So it's just a great tool.
Now, I like doing interviews on the bike because, the way we can get you gasping by having you talk a lot is good training for high altitude, right?
Exactly. Andrea's picking it up on this hill, so I'm having to hold on to her while completing sentences.
Now, it's voice activated, right? You don't have to reach up and press any buttons or anything.
Let me assure anyone listening at home, my hands are firmly planted on the handlebar.
So in a way, it's actually safety as well.
Oh, it's excellent. And what you may not be able to tell if you're listening at home or elsewhere, there's a pretty decent headwind coming at us, and I would imagine y'all aren't hearing it nearly as well as I am. So it's some amazing technology.
Really the only time I've had any difficult with the system was when I was trying to interview a team during 2013 RAM, and they were on a 50-mile-an-hour mountain descent, and we had a lot of air coming in. That was the one time I had an issue.
There you go. That's enough right there.
So, Mike, what's the Silver State 508 like for you this year? Because, one, you're focusing on yourself, but you also have some athletes that are racing. Are you going to be concerned at all about them, getting updates on where they are in the race? Or are you really just focusing on yourself?
This has been a funny year for me because I had Oregon as my main goal this season, and I had a good ride there thanks to that great event. You might have had something to do with that. And so 508 for me is the last 3 or 4 years especially. It's been less about me racing and more about supporting and coaching some riders and performance, management there. So I'm riding this year because I want to do another solo, but I've battled a few injuries here and there this season, so I'm not exactly as fast as I was in July, and I'm quick to say that. So I'm riding it for fun, but I'm out there mainly to support my team, the Pine Martins, as well as the Spotted Horse.
As well as Director Chris Kosman, because he had some troubles last year with the Park Service, had to shorten his race, and now he's moved it up to Reno, and I know that was a big deal for you to get out there and just show your support for Kosman. Yeah,
that's exactly right. It was important to us to bring at least 3 or 4 teams, and we have another team, a 4x called Przewalski's Horses coming up. So there's at least and Paul Torkin's riding solo. So I think that's 5 different teams coming from San Diego alone. So absolutely supporting Chris, supporting the new course, which I think is going to be really awesome. And, just the idea of being a part of a new 508 course is pretty exciting.
You are listening to Over the Top Radio. I'm George Thomas. Our guest is Mike Wilson, who is out training right now, and he's chatting with us via the Cardo BK1. And remember, cardosystems.com, 40% off for the next 2 days. That's including today. So today and tomorrow, if you want to get a great deal on the best communication system in Ultra, head on over there now. Or, in addition to that, you can try to win one of these units, the BK1 Duo, while listening to our show. Our word of the show today, remember, record this, send it to me via Facebook message, or like us at Over the Top Radio and send your answer there. The word of the day is one of Mike Wilson's favorite training areas, Palomar. Palomar. Palomar is our word for the show. Mike, tell us how special Palomar is.
Palomar is the greatest climb of all time. It's my secret recipe for fitness because it keeps you honest. There's no way to go up Palomar South Grade without being honest with yourself, your condition, and the mountain. It'll keep you honest.
How important is training on climbs for something like the 508, where you've got just climb after climb after climb, but it's 22,000 feet of elevation gain? You've got some pretty nice grades on this one that I think people are going to be going up at good speed, but I know you're coaching someone from Iowa, and how should people that are in flatter places around the country feel about taking on a mountainous course?
That's a great question. I think a climb such as Palomar or any version of a Category 1 climb is great for general fitness training, and if you've got a periodized annual training plan, it's really good to spend a good amount of time doing some quality climbing and getting the data from that. Because any climbs really like Palomar in these races. There's a few, but I think it's more you really use a climb like that to tune your overall fitness so that, rather than only going out and training really long, brutal rides, you can work on your high-end strengths, and in that way you become a more efficient rider, and you can cover more ground for less kilojoules, and therefore your calories help you get the job done more efficiently.
Now, another question for you about some of your clients. People don't do this full time. How are they able to get in the type of mileage and distance that you would think they would need to race 508 miles?
That's a great question, and people will probably start laughing when I say this, but yes, we live in San Diego and we still ride indoor trainers. It's true, and I think for people that don't have either the weather or the time to be outside year-round, or especially in the 6 or 9 weeks really before a 500-mile race, it's really important to get the intensity up, and maybe you can't get to a Palomar or a Fiesta Island where you can do high-intensity work. So go home, jump on the trainer, and then, basically do an interval-type program, and you can get that base work in. And then, as Pete Pincere's always said, really and truly, if I have one long ride a week, plus I have my intervals, it's enough.
It's funny you say that because talking with Christoph Strasser both before and after his record-setting Rams, he told me that he spent the majority of his time on his trainer because he felt he could get more accurate readings and really work on his power that way.
Makes perfect sense, it really does.
And I believe Sarah, one of the women you're coaching out of Iowa, said she did a lot of work on the indoor trainer as well.
Yeah, Cooper's the queen. She'll, because she has 4 kids, because she has so many commitments, and they have to go here and, school and all the activities. She's up at 4 in the morning staring at the wall in the basement, killing that trainer stroke by stroke.
So power-based training is really important for you, isn't that correct, and your clients?
It is, just because power is absolute. I'm sure you've had a million guests on the broadcast that have talked about variability of heart rate. And coming back to one of your other questions, the main issue, I don't think it's – sorry, we're just passing UC San Diego, so there's some rednecks driving around. The main question is for this kind of race is less like Category Type 1 climbs, but more of the elevation. And I think that's really going to show. I was impressed the other day when I was listening to Marco's broadcast, because clearly Marco understands the importance of altitude training, and he's been in Colorado, and he's had, I believe his client's name's Ray. Ray's been up there, and now they're out. I'm watching the photographs every day of their course recon, and boy, you can't put a price on that. That can be very valuable on race day. So very important stuff.
Now, when are you going to be heading out to Reno?
We're going to drive up on Friday, and then we'll pass through Bishop, pick up a couple of our crew people, and then we'll be there Friday evening.
What are you most looking forward to about this year's race?
Probably the new course. I think it's going to be a great battle between Hossie and Marco and Adam. And that'll be neat. It'll be neat to see, obviously, the ladies do so well because they've prepared so thoroughly. By the way, I'm chasing Andrea up the hill right now, so I'm out.
Well, I only scheduled our talk for 15 minutes so that I could only make you suffer for a little while. So, Mike Wilson, I sure appreciate you joining us while you're out there training via the Cardo BK1. Much appreciated. Go chase down your fiancée.
Thank you, George. And P.S., people using Cardo BK1, don't forget about the tethered little cord for listening to music. It will save your battery and make it last 12 hours.
All right. Thanks very much, Mike. Remember, if you are entering our contest to win a BK1 Duo, the word of the show today, Palomar, Mike's favorite climb out of San Diego, Palomar. Send that to me via Facebook message or like Over the Top Radio on Facebook and send your answer there. And again, cardosystems.com, 40% Labor Day sale coming to an end tomorrow. That's been going on the entire month of September. if you want to get the best deal you can on a Cardo system, you need to get to cardosystems.com. Boulder, Colorado, Over the Top Radio. I'm George Thomas.
Thanks, George.